Sayé here, and welcome to Miss Sayé Show. Today I have a very special guest. I have Maz Jobrani, one of my favorite comedians, internationally well known. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Sayé June. How are you?
All is well. How are you doing? How's everything going with you?
Things are going well. You know, it's interesting. This is my first time I'm trying to do a Zoom in this room. You notice the two windows and everything. One is shades down. I'm noticing all this stuff because what happened was I originally had like a little office space. Then the kids had Zoom. So then they got the office space. Then I set up another space as my office space. And then my wife had work. So then she took over that office space. So now I'm in this room. I'm going in circles. I was saying jokingly, it's funny because, you know, Pitbull, the singer Pitbull,
right?
He also goes as Mr. Worldwide. He goes, Mr. Worldwide. And I said, I wonder if he's on lockdown. Is he Mr. Housewide? Is he just going from room to room? That's how
That's a good one. But it looks good. Your setup is good. It seems like anywhere that you move, you have the right lighting, right setup, or it's just like you have your beauty filter on because you look really good.
Well, it's a little reddish, so it feels very romantic. And you look like you're well lit for a show. I feel like I'm in the booth, the corner booth of a steakhouse somewhere, restaurant.
Steakhouse, well said. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I follow all your moves. I'm watching you very closely, Maz. And I enjoyed seeing you on tour. And recently, I very much enjoyed your speech at the graduation. I watched the whole thing and it wasn't enough because the last bit of it was cut off. And I was like, I wanted to hear a little bit more. So could you do a recap of that and tell us about how it came about you doing the speech and just a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, the speech, you can watch the whole thing. It's on YouTube. It was at UC Berkeley 2017 for their graduation. It was spring of 2017. And I reposted it as a throwback Thursday kind of thing, given that it's graduation season, given that the kids can't graduate now. They had to do it all virtually, as we saw. So that was my kind of throwback Thursday. And I went to UC Berkeley.
Right.
So in 2017, they asked me to give the commencement speech. And it was pretty daunting because you want to write something. As a comedian, you kind of got to be funny. You also need to make a point. So it took me a lot of thinking. I watched a lot of other comedians who'd given commencement speeches. Really the best, hands down, is Conan O'Brien. If you watch Conan O'Brien, if you just Google it, Conan O'Brien commencement speech, he's so funny. It's so well written. So I kind of felt like, okay, I need to just kind of emulate that and be funny and then have a good story. So I tried to do that. And when I first accepted the giving their commencement speech, I knew it was for the big graduation. I thought it was going to be about 5,000 people because when I graduated from UC Berkeley in 1993, now I'm dating myself, the graduation was about 5,000 people. This time they told me it was 45,000 people. I was like, oh my God. So it was cool. It was cool to speak to them, get a chance to speak to them. And more importantly, it was amazing how well they listened because, again, as a stand-up comedian, I'm used to being in comedy clubs where when you pause, people start talking, they're not listening, they're drinking, they're drunk. This group of people, when I would pause to find my place on the speech, they were just listening and being very attentive. So it was one of the highlights of my life.
Graduates, congratulations. Today is your day, all of you, after 4 arduous years. Some of you 5. After 5 arduous, some of you 6. After 6 arduous, a few of you 7. After 7 arduous, if you've been here 7 years, you probably don't know what arduous means.
They loved you. I was hearing the feedback, and that was one of the things. I didn't understand that it was a throwback, so I thought it was happening. And I was like, why? The people are actually there. How is it? So I was about to ask you that, but you answered that question. But it was wonderful. It was funny. At the same time, it was meaningful, and you made it very international. That's what I loved about it. which brings me to talk about your tour around the world. This show, I'm a Goodwill Ambassador to the Global Citizen Foundation, and we are promoting global citizenry and how to be the true global citizen as far as our responsibility and how to think beyond our borders. And I wanted you to tell us your experience of traveling all over the world and doing your shows, something that maybe you haven't talked about before.
Well, I always tell people, I think that if more people traveled, we would have less hatred between people, because I think once you travel, you go to places, it really is it opens your eyes to the fact, number one, that most of the world is just like you. So whether you're going to the Middle East or to Australia or to Africa or wherever, it's people living day to day, trying to make a living and feed their families. That's kind of the base of it, And then from there, you go to the next level is hopefully if they're able to afford some money, then they're going to go and have a good time somewhere, somehow. And so for me as a stand-up comedian, it's really helped take me around the world. And I've had amazing experiences with people. And what I also find as a comedian is how common our experiences are. So when I do jokes about my kids and maybe, being tired from my running around chasing my kids all day long, you do that joke anywhere in the world and they get it. And especially, and nowadays, because the world is so small because of social media and the internet, you do a joke about something in the news that happened in America and they get it in Australia or wherever you are. So it's amazing, because I think that it's a smaller world than we thought. And if the more people travel, I think that there'll be less hatred between people.
Beautiful. I have been witnessing your journey, your health journey, and your goals that you set, and you've been very active and reaching it. And I know that has been part of the way that you stayed grounded through pandemic. But could you share with us about that, about your health goals, and also how else were you staying grounded and sane in a way?
Well, the health goals, they come and go on a day-to-day basis, because it's a little crazy. But, overall, I try as much as I can to just be active. So in LA, we're allowed to go out and exercise, in the neighborhood. So I've been going on, I'll do a run one day, and then I'll make sure I walk somewhere the next day, and then I'll run, and then I'll walk, and I'll run, and I'll walk. And then I give myself time off here and there, because again, as I'm getting older and older, sometimes when I run, I come home and my back hurts for a few days. So it's a little bit of a balancing act, and it's easy to just let it all go. But I think we need to find moments of sanity. I had downloaded the Headspace app, which is just a meditation app. And
so good.
Yeah, I hadn't used it in like a year or so, or like 6 months or something. And just the other day, I kind of felt a little off. And I said, you know what, I'm going to try it. So I just sat there and listened to the guy with his British accent for 10 minutes. It was fantastic. So everyone's got their own ways, whether it's reading or it's exercise or whatever. I would highly advise getting away from screens, whether it's the phone or the computer or whatever. That helps a lot, because I think we don't realize it, but we end up committing to, Zoom meeting,
right.
Phone call, FaceTime, this, that, the other. After a while, you the whole day you've just been staring at something, and somehow you feel tense. So, and I got to take that advice myself. I sometimes end up on the phone, on Instagram or whatever, too much. So it's all balancing,
You talked about Headspace. I'm so proud of you. I'm so glad to hear that you're doing that. I very much enjoyed myself. I also signed up for this app called Mind Valley. Mm-hmm. And they have courses that you can take online. And I was like, this is a great time to invest in myself. And I signed up for this course. It's 5 weeks. And every day there's different lessons or meditation. And it has been really fulfilling for me. There are many things that are getting repeated because of this similar books that I have read, but it's just good to hear it again from somebody else's voice, or somebody else delivers it differently and it sinks in, and it's kind of a good tune-up. It's similar to Headspace, and I've been enjoying it very much. And And you talked about your health goal. I know you were trying to hit a certain number. What was your goal?
That was, first of all, when you hear on Mind Valley or you hear on different places the same thing sometimes, that just shows you that they all reach the same conclusion. So I think that we realize we're not here to reinvent the wheel, no matter what profession you're in. If you ask a comedian, what should I do? Most comedians will say, if you want to be a comedian, you should get on stage as much as you can and write as much as you can. Now, I might say that, another comedian might say that, but ultimately we all will tell you the formula is the same. Right. But sometimes it's good to hear it over and over again because you go, oh, that is the formula. That is the formula. So that's that. Now, weight goal, you're welcome. And the weight goal, I think that was almost a fluke. We were coming home from Lake Tahoe on New Year's Eve, and we were at the Reno airport, and they had this really cool thing. It said New Year's resolutions, and it had all these Post-its, and people were just taking Post-its and putting it up. So it was a wall filled with New Year's resolutions. So me and the kids and my wife, we looked at each other. We go, should we do this? We go, yeah, let's just do it. So we did it. And I usually don't have a New Year's resolution because when people ask me, they go, what's your New Year's resolution? I go, I like myself pretty the way I am. I really don't want to change anything. But this time around, I said, I have been kind of eating and drinking a little lackadaisically, or whatever you would say, a little liberally, a little too loose. And so I said, I'm going to try, because my weight has always fluctuated between 175 to 185, pretty much my whole adult life. So I was closer to 185 and going a little past it. And I thought, you know what, let's come back down to 175. So what I started doing was, that's when actually the diet was pretty good. I said, I'm going to go down to 175, lose 10 pounds by March 1st. And it was interesting because right away I started eating better. I stopped drinking alcohol. I was exercising, rotating the exercises. One day I'd swim, the next day I'd run, the next day I was in the gym, and it was going well. And then suddenly we almost went to war with Iran, and as an Iranian American, that caused all this stress. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah. Then the Kobe thing happened. Then pandemic happened. All this stuff just kept happening. But somehow, throughout the pandemic, my diet hasn't been as disciplined as it had been before, but I still don't overeat and I continue to exercise. So suddenly I find that I'm right around 175. So I'm at the weight I meant to be. Pandemic or no pandemic, I made the weight.
Bravo. Well done. That's good. 10 pounds. And how long did it take you? From 3 months?
I do pretty well. If I wanted to, I think within the first couple of weeks, I'd lost 5, 6, 7 pounds. I'm a pretty lean person. So if I just don't eat late at night and I kind of manage the diet with not overdoing too many carbs and definitely cut out the wine or whatever, that really helps. So it went pretty fast. It didn't take me that long. I actually had hit it earlier. Then it came back. And also, by the way, we know some of it is muscle, right? So I wasn't doing as much gym work,
right?
As the gyms are closed. So now I still do push-ups and stuff, but I think I've lost a lot of the weight just from running and limiting my eating. A big part of what I think we do is we feel like, oh, it's lunch, I got to eat a big meal. Well, I just have a smaller meal here, smaller meal here throughout the day. I try to spread it out. And in the end, it ends up I'm not as hungry and I'm just spreading out the way I eat. I haven't had a moment where I was leaning back and going, oh my God, I just, I stuffed myself.
Well, you're very goal oriented. That's why you're successful. So I'm not surprised that you achieve your goal, your 170 within the time frame that you chose to. Speaking of screen,
175. I don't want to. You said 170.
175. You were 185 to 175.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
175 pounds. You talk about screen time. Do you have a TikTok account?
I got a TikTok account. I'll tell you why. I got one because I was in a movie called Friday After Next with Ice Cube. It was the third Friday movie. And there was a character in there. I played a character named Molly.
Yes.
Yeah, Holy Moly Donut Shops. Yeah. So suddenly there was a rapper named Blueface, who's I guess a younger guy. He wrote a song and he called it Holy Moly. And he just takes that name. He takes my character's name and he just goes off and does a whole song called Holy Moly. And so in the beginning of the song, he played the clip where me and the comedian Mike Epps are saying Holy Moly Donut Shops.
Holy moly, 40 leaving like a dolly. Here we go. One more, here we go. Holy moly donut shop. Holy moly donut shop. Holy moly, 40 leaving like a dolly.
And somehow it became this big viral thing on TikTok. And all of my friends who have teenagers were hitting me up going, dude, your voice is on this thing. But none of the teenagers knew who I was. It was just because it became a song. So then I decided right at the beginning of the lockdown, I decided to do it as well. I did it on Instagram and I posted it. And then I tried to do it on TikTok, but we couldn't find the song anymore. I don't know if maybe somebody, told the guy you can't use the song or something. So I joined TikTok, but I've never put a video on TikTok. I just don't know if I'm ready to put my foot into yet another platform. Social thing. Yeah, platform is killing me too much.
Yes, I know it's kind of fun. I started. I didn't know, but I knew I had to stay hip, so I did. I did went on. It's fun. It depends what you want to do with it, how you want to. I think you will have a lot of fun with it. Yes. I get on it. I will follow you.
I'll follow you. I said I have an account. I've posted nothing, and I've just maybe looked at a couple things.
Once this pandemic is over, hopefully, or slowed down, where is the first place you want to go?
Oh my God. I just want to go sit in a restaurant for 2 hours, take my time, eat slowly, have all the, the first course, second course, drink the wine, whatever it is, and just be able to, hopefully it's after the vaccine, if it's clean enough where we can all be there without masks, close to each other, have a restaurant that's happening and people are running around and all that stuff. And maybe I might even lick a chair afterwards. But that's how I want to do it.
Lick a chair.
Yeah.
So there's no particular destination that you're itching to go, any traveling?
Well, we had wanted to go because my wife's Indian. So we'd wanted to go to India this summer and that got canceled because of the pandemic. And I've been dying to get back to Italy. And obviously they got hit hard, but I studied abroad in Italy when I was in college and I've been back once or twice since. I really want to go and spend a lot of time there and practice Italian. So those two places would be great to go to.
Well, exciting. I hope that you can go there soon. You're going to go with the family. Have they been to Italy with you?
They've never been to Italy with me. Of course, if we went overseas, we'd go with the family. Yeah. That would be the case. And of course, India, I've never been to India, so I'd love to go. So many places to see, but it's just everything's on hold right now. There's nowhere to go. You can barely go outside your own house.
Yeah. But I hope you're hopeful. It's going to get better.
Yes.
And thinking positive. Speaking of yoga, speaking of meditation, you do meditation and your wife is Indian. That's where the yoga was originated. Do you practice yoga? Have you tried? What are your thoughts?
My wife before the pandemic was doing yoga pretty religiously. And so I would go to the place she goes maybe once every month or so. And I loved it. Every time I went, it's a hot yoga space. And they do, for me, my favorite style is they do the hot yin, which is the long hold. And someone like me, and because I run and all this other stuff, knees, ankles, back, all that stuff gets sore. So when you do those long holds and hot yin, oh my God, I said whenever I would walk out, I felt like I was born again. I was like, I felt like a baby. So
I'm glad to hear you're into that. Yin is also my favorite because, yes, those long holds, that's when you feel the change, because there's a style of yoga that you just do fast. It's kind of like a heart pumping music. But the long hold, especially in a hot room, just all the joints getting lubricated and open. I'm a big fan of that. That, yin, and Iyengar. Have you tried Iyengar?
I don't know if I've tried Iyengar, but once it all comes back, I'd love to do it more. I know my body needs it. I mean, I think my first half of my life up until now, I've always been someone who I played soccer and I run and do all the sports that are a little more impactful on your joints. So I know that as I go to the next phase of my life, I need to do things that are more lubricating for my body. Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm so happy to hear you're into all this healthy lifestyle.
Well, namaste.
Namaste to you too, and your family and your loved ones.
Yeah.
Do you remember where we first met?
I believe it was on the set of a music video for Deep Dish. Am I correct?
Bravo!
Yeah. Me,
You have a sharp mind.
And the guy, what was his name? The big guy. He had a big
Marco.
Marco, what a good guy. Yeah, we were all there playing characters in that Deep Dish video, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
And you had 2 hendune, you had 2 watermelon.
Yeah, that was my Jimmy Vestfoot character when we were still just starting to figure them out. So I told the guys, because I know the Deep Dish guys from just being friends, and I said, guys, I got this character. And they said, we're in LA, we're shooting a video. I said, well, he carries maybe I'll carry watermelon because he's going to show up and he's got a briefcase and a suit. They go, yeah, come on down. And there we were.
And if you remember, the theme of the video was that they were in this car and we were all getting in, like 100 people, I don't know, not 100, maybe like 15 people. We were all getting in one car and everybody, somebody was hitchhiking, the car would stop, the priest would get in, the belly dancer would get in, the sheik would get in, and then the Jimmy Westwood would get in. I remember when they stopped for you to get in, you were taroffing, you wouldn't get in.
Yeah. That's part of the character. And I think that, the song is called Sacramento. So they're driving to Sacramento and they're just picking people up along the way. So it really was. It was a fun time. I love those guys. And it's actually a fun song. It's still, when you go to YouTube and watch the video, it's actually a catchy song. I like it. Yeah.
I had such a great time on that music video, and I met you and Marco, and the song seemed to be timeless. Every time I listen to it, takes me back.
Yeah.
It's real nice. I have some of my American friends that they are a huge fan of yours for the Persian word of the day.
Oh, yes.
I've sent you a video before, and anybody who wants to learn Farsi, I said, follow Maz on Instagram. And you have few fans that are American, they're my friends. And I wanted to do a Persian word of the day with you today.
Okay.
So I'm going to do a Persian word of the day. What is this?
Chai.
You have to say the English.
Tea.
What is this?
Tea. Tutti. That's a good one.
So I thought about you. Tutti means parrot.
Yeah, tutti
in
parrot.
Farsi.
Yeah.
So I was teaching my fiance about it. I said, tutti means parrot.
Isn't it amazing how easy it is to learn Persian? Just order 2 teas and you're already talking about a bird.
Well, I learned that from you. That's how I now know it will sink in with him better and he'll learn it.
Yeah, I swear, I keep finding whenever I think of the word, I'm going, how can I do it in a fun way so that people will remember it? So you are a disciple of the Maz Jobrani School of Persian language.
I am, yes, Master Maz. I have learned a lot from you, and that has been helping me in my life and my relationship to teach my fiance more Persian word in a fun way that he would actually remember. Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate your time. I know you're very busy. It's always fun to see your face. And
thank you for having me, Sayé Jun. It's nice to see you. Nice to see you're doing well, and I hope once this is all done, we can get together and have 2 teas.
Oh, bravo, 2 teas. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Maz Jobrani, and we will provide your link so they can visit your profile.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sayé. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.